National Trustee of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, and the National President of Hotel and Personal Services Senior Staff Association, Comrade E.A. Williams Adebe, on Saturday Discuss. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me this evening.
Okay, well, you're still celebrating the workers. I think we need to do more for them.
Oh, yes. First of all, let me start by appreciating the leadership of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, the president of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, Comrade Engineer Festus Osifo, for being who he is today, for his endless effort in bringing up the activities of labor union in Nigeria, for giving a face to Nigerian workers. I want to use this opportunity to sincerely thank him for all he has been doing for Nigerian workers.
Okay, well, beyond the thanking of the leadership, let's look at some of the issues. Yeah, we all saw how the celebration, came out, governments on their parts. The workers were so excited. Can you give us, tell us why you think those workers were excited on that day of the celebration?
Well, thank you very much. The International Labour Day is a day that is set aside to celebrate workers worldwide, irrespective of the challenges and what they are passing through. That singular day, May 1st, is the only day they have to appreciate themselves, to appreciate their resiliences, to appreciate, whatever they do to make their own contribution to the socio-economic development of their own country, Nigeria, which is the only country that we have. So we have no other choice, despite all the challenges. We feel that is the only day that we have to celebrate. And that is why you see the excitement all over, the stadium that day. And also, I want to really appreciate the Nigeria Labour Congress also and the TUC for putting a very good atmosphere for workers to, demonstrate their excitement and everything around that you saw during the Labor Day celebration.
Okay, well, of significance here and taking advantage of this platform, we know the work of nation building is so enormous, and workers are also team players. Uh, at this moment, what do you think we need to tell the worker in order to keep that resilience, in order to keep pushing and supporting the Nigerian project?
From the Nigeria workers' side, I believe, or we believe, that we are partners in progress with the Nigerian government. But in some situations where policies are being made and executed without the stakeholders that, like the labor unions in Nigeria, that makes us worry that are we really partners in progress? If not, why will governments, go into programs or policies without bringing us into table and discuss, the merits and demerits of such program, how it will affect Nigerian workers, and to know how best to go about it. But the situation today is you sleep and wake up tomorrow and see a different program on the, in the Nigerian policy. So it's a source of concern to the labor sector.
Okay, well, moving forward, I think the labor unions would be part, parcel of such policy formulations and also supporting government kinds of the implementation. But I think we also have other channels like the National Assembly. Most times we hear of public hearing. I think it's also an avenue for labor unions to make their contributions during public hearing.
Yes, we've been doing that, especially when we are being invited. Like what is going on for the national minimum wage. Yes, the public hearing has been done. We have organized ourselves in the 6 political zones. We have gone to do public hearings and all that. And in other cases or other scenarios where there's an issue or a policy that is, intended to be implemented and are being called for the public hearing, that definitely will give a full attention. I'll mobilize our teams, and then whenever we are being called upon, we participate fully.
Collective bargaining is an instrument used in labor, parlance. And how do you think that can be explored more between government and labor in terms of, keep keeping the dialogue on whenever there are gray areas, and not to talk about strike, which is not in the interest of any party.
Yes, collective bargaining is something that is supposed to be continuous dialoguing, not leaving everything to when it becomes, so severe, when it becomes, an issue that you cannot go to the table again. Then you start calling. That is when you are being, the workers are being pushed to the wall and they start reacting. That is when you start calling. But you know, collective bargaining is something that is supposed to be consistent. Like in private sectors, it's expected that every 2 3 years, collective bargaining is supposed to be put on the table. Conditions of service are supposed to be renegotiated. But in most cases, workers are being made to push and push and push until they cannot longer bear it. And that is when you start hearing the issue of strike and all that. But when issues are being tabled as at when due, the issue of strike will not have a place.
At the moment, we know the economic reality is not one that supports, the workers to smile. And I know government is not unaware of such. Yes, the government has been, engaged in the labor. So, what do you think should be our expectation as Nigerian workers at the end of, the day, so that something reasonable can be taken forward?
Well, every worker in Nigeria today is very, high in expectation of at least what we are discussing now, irrespective of the challenges that we are facing. The issue of the national minimum wage, the process ought to have been started, since last year. Because of the issue of, the subsidy removal, which nobody expected all of a sudden, we just heard that the subsidy has been removed. And instantaneously, the bad effect of it was all over in the country. And then, instead of government to hasten the process of minimum wage negotiation, the labor centers, both the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria and the NLC, were made to push government until they later constitute the committee that will discuss the minimum wage. But as it is now, we still feel that government is supposed to be, more proactive than what they are doing now.
Well, in trying to be more proactive, we know governments who have come up with several interventions, to cushion the effects of that, subsidy removal. And like you say, we're hoping that probably at the end of the day, the wage will be reviewed so that at the end of the day, all